everybody, welcome again to another episode of Just for Fun Games. I'm your host, Azzy, and with me is my boy, Roy.
Yeah, you got it. Got
it. And today we're going to be reviewing The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson. If you hadn't seen it, then, or if you haven't seen any of our content, then you should know that we are really bad when it comes to spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, please find the opportunity to see it for yourself and then come back and see what two knuckleheads had to say about it.
I mean, who wants to go first?
Without further ado, I say this is the best Batman movie that's come out yet.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. I see you shooting some big bullets there, sir. Because
truth be told, I don't like the Nolan trilogy. And while the Tim Burton movies hold a special place in my heart just because I watched them as a kid, I wouldn't say going back they were the best of viewings. But this movie does a really great job of being unapologetically its own thing, giving us the Batman that we always saw in the cartoons, the Batman we get to experience in the Arkham games. But one we haven't seen up until this point, Detective Batman, one of the main identifiers when it comes to Batman as a character that's just has happened to have been missing almost this entire time, like in every movie. At the very most, what we've ever seen from any other Batman is using tech, like piecing together a bullet from a brick or Googling shit on his big ass computer. That's kind of it. If he figures anything out, it's off screen and he just shows up and he knows it. We don't actually get to see him doing any of the investigating. And I had to really appreciate this movie for it. What were your initial thoughts?
Oh man. Now granted, I saw this movie 2 times. And you definitely feel its length because it is a 3-hour movie. The first time I'm like, there are moments in the film where you think it's going to be over. You know, Batman's caught the bad guy. It's over. No, it keeps on going. And I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but you really can feel 3 hours in this. And watching it the second time, I dozed off a little bit. I was like, okay. I mean, I knew what was happening, so I needed to okay, this is the part they're just talking. It's a lot of monologue, but I mean, it's just Batman trying to figure the Riddler's game, the riddles, and all that stuff out. But is it the best Batman? I mean, for me, I thought it was good. It was okay. It was great. But The Dark Knight still my favorite Batman movie.
Is it really your favorite Batman movie, or do you just really like Heath Ledger's Joker?
No, I really like this Batman, Dark Knight. I do like that movie more than the Batman. Now, granted, there are things, like I said, movie didn't need to be 3 hours long. Like, even after the second time I watched it, I was trying to find out certain areas, like, okay, where to cut this, cut some of the, I don't know, some of the the last riddle the Riddler had, the Rada, whatever the hell, whatever the fuck it was, what the hell it was called. Like that whole riddle, that they're pretty much solving that riddle for the rest of the movie. Like the first 2, he was like, okay, I got this, it's easy cake. But I mean,
the movie felt like you were watching a detective thriller, like a
the best comparison,
like how to catch a serial killer or something along those times, or the Bone Collector.
The best comparison I heard was Seven with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. I mean, granted, and I still haven't seen that movie. I know what happens in it, but I mean, I do.
In the box.
I do. Yeah, I do like the fact that we didn't see a lot of Bruce Wayne in this. You had maybe 2 moments where he was actually Bruce Wayne, when he was going to like little funeral thing, and then the whole visiting, spoilers, Alfred in the hospital. That's pretty much, you saw Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, the thing about that though is, and I was one of those people who saw the trailer and saw this like broody and gloomy Bruce Wayne in the trailer. I was like, that kind of breaks my immersion in there for a second, because Bruce Wayne's always the mask. Batman is who he is. Bruce Wayne is the mask he wears in order to divert attention away. So the notion that he still looked like he was dark and broody even when he was trying to be Bruce Wayne, I was like, oh man, I might still like him as Batman, but this might be the worst Bruce Wayne. But what we have to remember is that this is year 2 Batman.
Yeah,
this is year 2 Batman. So he is thoroughly in here, and he doesn't at this point in time understand that he needs to keep up appearances. And we get lip service of that with Alfred kind of confronting him with the notion that if he doesn't dance in both worlds, then Wayne Enterprises is going to collapse around him, and it's going to fall back on him in a municipal financial way.
Which he obviously, Bruce was like, why are you bringing these people here, man? He's like, because you didn't want to go over there. You're like, yeah.
But what I liked about it is that, like, for one, we got a redemption, a cinematic redemption for the character of the Riddler, which I love Jim Carrey, but come on now.
Yeah, the Riddler character, like, I do like this take on the Riddler. This was more grounded, not no goofy, riddle me this, Batman, not that kind of Riddler that we're so used to seeing.
I do like I did like the Easter egg at the very end where we did get riddle me this, but the Riddler was played by Paul Dano, which isn't something that you would really freaking expect. He well, you know what, he does typically play oddball characters.
Yeah, like the first movie I've seen him in was Taking Lives with Angelina Jolie. That was the first movie I've seen him in. He was playing the young kid in the beginning, and that was it. That's all you saw him in that whole movie. But then I saw him in 12 Years a Slave. I'm not going too deep into that. And then I saw him hit my.
A good movie.
It was a good movie. It's a good movie. But the movie that I really liked him in, that gets a lot of shit for, is Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. I wonder why.
I mean, I like it. But anyway, yeah, he did it. He did a good job as the Riddler. I'm not digging the whole outfit though. The whole mask thing. That's the only thing because then you got his henchmen at the end wearing the same getup, and it's like,
Well, it was kind of part of the plan. It was almost like to create a sort of anonymous, to allow people to rally behind him, and then to enact the final part of his plan as the movie hits its crescendo. And I will agree, like, even going into the movie, I felt intimidated by the runtime. 3 hours, like I love my Lord of the Rings, but 3 hours on any kind of movie, especially when you're rolling the dice and it's not a known quantity, it's a hefty thing to jump on. I don't begrudge anybody who wants to wait to see this movie at home. Like, not to mention, like, my movie viewing experience wasn't exactly the best, because I had loud people who just kept talking behind me. But still,
that's why you turn around and they're like, "Who are you?" I'm vengeance.
I'm vengeance. That was a little bit of a cheesy line, but I like how it got thrown in his face later. I like, even though I will agree that you do feel the length. I couldn't tell you what could be cut. I still feel like, even despite having a very large cast, it felt like everyone had a very important role to play. Even like the one like Spanish lieutenant that was basically just giving Gordon grief throughout the movie. It's like, yeah. He's like, "Are you sure about this, man?" Like, fine. Even he had like that one moment to play to effectively be Batman's Watson, to just say the right thing to help him figure out what he needed to do next. It's like everyone kind of had a thing to do. Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Oh, I loved him.
Oh, yeah, my god,
he pulled it off.
Just
because
like stole the crown from Tom Cruise for being completely unrecognizable in the freaking movie.
What were
Tropic
you
Thunder be
about to
damned.
say? Tropic Thunder. I could still tell that was Tom Cruise, but yeah, Colin Farrell. Yeah,
it's not until someone said it was Tom Cruise for me. I was like, and now I can't unsee it. Oh my god.
But yeah, Colin Farrell, he did an amazing job as the Penguin. Like Penguin, never a character I really cared about. Even with what is it, Danny DeVito playing Penguin back in Batman Returns and the TV series one. I never cared for Penguin. He's not a villain. I'm like, oh my god, Penguin's in this. It's amazing. But he really captured that character. You could not tell that was Colin Farrell with all that prosthetic makeup and all that. But
nope.
Yeah,
nope.
And we getting a live action TV series with him too. So we got more Batman coming.
Okay, all right. The only thing I would sit there and say is that it felt a little bit weird casting was for what is it, Falcone?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name, but he was in Transformers.
Yes, underneath the robot scrotum. But hold up, I'm gonna get his name. Oh shit.
I mean, I think he until you figure out his name. I think he did a good job. Like, I didn't think the Falcones or the Maronis or Jabronis, I didn't know they were going to be in this movie. Okay,
Jabronis.
But he did a good job. I mean, it's kind of hard because I'm so used to seeing him in a comedic role, like not just Transformers. I think he was in Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler.
He was Carmine Falcone, and the actor's name is John Turturro. I like John Turturro, don't get me wrong, but like you said, he's like typically you find him in a very comedic role, and his slim build, it was hard for me to take him seriously as like a wise guy or
the big
like
crime boss,
the Don. You know what I mean?
Which I like the fact that they did, like in the very beginning of the movie when you got not Bruce Wayne, Batman, either way, monologuing and saying Thursday, October 31st. Boom. I'm thinking, oh shit, it's gonna be like the long Halloween. Okay, I'm in for this.
I'm thinking calendar. Where's Calendar Man at? I mean, shit.
He ain't bust Calendar Man yet. This is year 2.
But kind of like I'm saying, like while like you said, and I definitely agree. You do feel its length. It does a really great job of seeding things and giving us payoff later. Like when you hear about Selena Kyle's mother and how she was the victim of some random murder and she was strangled to death, and then later in the movie on the recording you hear Falcone strangling Selena Kyle's friend. Immediately before the movie can even drop the reveal on you, he's like, "Holy shit, he was the one who killed her mother." Like it allows us as the fans to also kind of take part in that, and I always like those kind of elements when it comes to like a whodunit. So having the extra bit of thriller-esque like detective bits.
Only thing I didn't like, because I know it's a 3-hour movie. You got a lot of time to explain stuff. And just like you said, it's kind of hard to cut stuff when most of it does feel important. One thing I didn't like is when Riddler is playing the games and everything with Batman, you don't have time to it didn't make me question the riddles or anything like that. It's just like,
oh yeah, no, they don't give you a lot of time to try to solve them yourself.
Yeah,
but the solutions are pretty fun even when they were revealed to me. Like what was the first one? Like,
God damn. What does the liar do when he's dead? He lies still.
That was really good. Yeah, and not to mention the fucking thumb drive.
That was clever. I do like Zoë Kravitz in this. I think, in my opinion, even though I love her, I think she's the best Catwoman I've seen, right next to Michelle Pfeiffer. I didn't care for Anne Hathaway's.
Yeah. No,
I didn't care for the Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway's Catwoman was just fucking. She'd be like, Oh well, I didn't say I don't need that Catwoman. This Catwoman is straight
Anne, Anne
fucking shit
Hathaway
up.
was taking like the Anne Hathaway was taking the notes on the notion of being very as aloof as a cat as possible, and kind of like blew that kind of out of proportion. Selena Kyle, there is a heart under there, and not to mention, this is a Catwoman who had a vested interest in the plot, as opposed to being just a cat burglar. Like the only thing she really steals is when she tries to take the money from Falcone's men, and beyond that, I mean, that's basically. Oh no, she does try to steal. She does try to steal the passport.
Yeah, he stole the passport
Still,
for.
it was an altruistic purpose. It was to save her friend. It wasn't because she was just trying to like steal some art or something.
Nah.
And Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, while iconic, and the behind the scenes footage of her snapping off the mannequins' heads with the whip in the first take is great. I don't need a psychotic Catwoman. That's what she was. There wasn't really a lot to her in that kind of way. And Zoe Kravitz almost like outdid Holly Berry's like leather pants walk. Like,
oh yeah, she had a walk
from that movie. That was the only thing.
She had a walk
about Holly Berry's Catwoman that I remember is her walking away in leather pants. I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
But since this is a Batman movie, and we've gushed over like some of the more finer details of the plot and highlighting the detective side of Batman. There's still other things that we have, other expectations that we have when it comes out of the Batman. What did you feel about the combat and the action sequences?
All right, okay. This is the only. It's like I've seen it twice. I feel like it was kind of lackluster with the fighting. I feel like and that's another thing. The trailer pretty much shows you everything, and I hate that when you watch the trailers, you pretty much getting all the action scenes, and it takes time through the 3 hours to get to that specific scene. But like, okay, the first teaser trailer they released with him beating up that clown dude, that was right like 5 minutes into the movie. Yeah. And then I think was it later when he goes to the club to go talk to Penguin, you got that little fight right there. Then after that, you get the chase scene where Batman's chasing the Penguin. After that, you go to the part where he goes back to the club to go get Falcone, you know? And then you've got the last part where he's fighting the Riddler's henchman. That's it. That's all you have. Whereas I feel like the Dark Knight, you have a little bit more action without Batman. You got the stuff with the Joker going on.
Sure, but we're talking about solely action sequences that involved Batman. He did have a fight with Catwoman.
I mean, it was like 30. It's 30 seconds. He's like, "Wait,
fights don't have to be long for them to be entertaining."
I mean, it's just like 30-second fight. He's just snooping in there. He's like, "You're pretty good at that," and she, huh?
the feeling that I got when I was watching the fights in this movie, they reminded me of the fights in Daredevil, which I felt fits really well. This is still like not to try and make like excuses if you or anybody else found issue with this notion, but this is still year 2 Batman. He's still, while he has undergone a fuck ton of training that Batman we're typically associated with, has been doing it for decades, whereas this guy is going to make mistakes, and he makes plenty of them. So he was taking way more shots than we would probably expect. Though I was sitting there next to my nephew Cameron, leaning over, going like watching the fights. Like, does this make you want to play Arkham Asylum or what? It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go home and play it. But that's how I gotta like. I enjoy the resourcefulness, like not only disarming people from their rifles, but also like using them as fucking gaffy sticks to beat the shit out of them too.
Another thing, I'm gonna cut you right there for a second. Another thing about the movie, I was picking up pieces for other superhero movies, not just between the Dark Knight, like the Riddler being on the news, just like the Joker being on the news in the Dark Knight. In the beginning, when
my word,
when Batman saves that guy from those thugs in the beginning, and the guy's like, "Please don't hurt me." That reminded me of the original Daredevil with Ben Affleck, when he was saving some kid and the kid was cowering. He's like, "Please don't hurt me." And Daredevil was like, I'm the good guy, kid. And he's still freaking out. And also definitely in the beginning when Batman was talking about hitting being in Gotham for over 2 years reminded me of Rorschach from The Watchmen.
Okay. Sidebar. The movie The Watchmen made everyone really like Rorschach. Rorschach, the character, is horrible. He's practically a neo-Nazi. But and compare it to like the original, like the
I mean, that's what I saw. That's what I saw. Like when he was like that, I don't know why that movie popped in my head. There's a better Daredevil than Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
I actually really liked how, especially like very early on in the movie, they established the idea that the element of utilizing the element of fear in order to manipulate the scum of society, and like we got looks at all these motherfuckers who were about to participate in some sort of crime, whether it's vandalism, assault, or what have you, and then they get a spot of that light, and then, oh shit, he's out there. And they even drop the line, is like, I can't be everywhere, but I want them to think that I'm everywhere. I loved it. Like if you look at the Nolan Batman movies, I like rather than pushing that element of fear, apart from that one scene on the pier, the only other time we get to see him actually trying to scare mofos was when he was literally manipulating them with the fear toxin. And that wasn't because of him. That wasn't because of like the ambiance or how they set the scene. I could feel like every time when they were looking down in like that like pitch black alley, and then he just like appears. That was great. Now they were much more sparse with the action scenes in this movie, that's for sure. But hey, it's way more than we got in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, that was just talking.
but let's go on to a different like pillar of Batman media. What was your opinion on the Batmobile?
My opinion on the Batmobile. Well, sir, the Batmobile is right here. So yes,
it's gorgeous.
I mean, it took 7 hours to make it, and it lights
Very
up,
nice.
And it's got a throttle.
I was hoping it lights up. Thank you.
I wish it made the noise like it did in the movie. Oh, when that scene came up where Selena Kyle's trying to steal the money, and Batman's there, and he turns the corner, and you hear the fucking Batmobile start up. I was like, "Here we go. Let's get this fucking."
It was a good scene. It was a really good scene. I know you saw like a nice chunk of it from the trailer, sure. But I'm sorry, it was a good fucking scene, and it wasn't a fucking tank bouncing off of rooftops.
But yeah, I wish when he was booting it up, and Penguin's like freaking out, instead of doing that fake out jerk. I just wish it would have just kept going. That was like, why you stop and just hit him? Just hit him. Be like, like he ain't gonna kill him. He big guy. Yeah, I mean he could be like Kingpin. He's like a tank.
And honestly, there was barely any comedy to distract us or pull us out of the moment. I like off the top of my head, and granted, I literally saw the movie today. I can only think of when they just like abandoned Penguin tied up as he was like hopping and cursing them out and shit. That was like the only moment that I feel like I chuckled. Yeah, I feel like that was the only moment that I actually chuckled. But no, I actually really like this Batmobile. It reminds me so much of the one from my childhood with Batman, the animated series.
That's granted, totally different.
As long.
That's totally different.
It's like as long as no. You hear me out. As long as it is actually a car, and it has like a jet engine in the back, I'm happy. It's like I'm a simple guy in that regard.
Mm-hmm. But now hold on before you move on. I got the quote that he was talking about in the beginning. He's like, "City streets are crowded for the holiday, even with the rain. Hidden in the chaos is the element, waiting to strike like snakes. But I'm there too, watching. 2 years of night have turned me into a nocturnal animal. I must choose my targets carefully. It's a big city. I can't be everywhere. We have a signal now for when I'm needed. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning to them. Fear is a tool. They think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadow."
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Best
That
fucking.
that's
I
a
was
great
like,
fucking line.
I was like,
That's a good fucking line.
I was like, all right.
Yeah. So uh before we give our verdict for the movie, I just kind of want to talk a bit about the potentiality here and what I would like to see as they continue this specific franchise. So and I thought this, like, I got spoiled to this before I even went and saw the movie. Towards the very end, as the Riddler is wallowing in self pity because his plan failed, um, he meets an acquaintance who is obviously, spoiler alert, who's obviously the Joker.
Woo-hoo!
And that's where we get the riddle me this line. And it's very bold. It's very bold for them to immediately jump into pulling in the Joker by the second movie because not to mention people are going to make the connection that Joker came up as it was the second main villain in the Nolan trilogy. Heath Ledger's cast a very large shadow. I was kind of hoping that they would go a bit more on the wild side. Think of like with like people are constantly saying it's like, oh, we need a dark and gritty Batman. I wouldn't say this movie was dark and gritty to the cartoony sense that we got out of the Nolan trilogy, but think of like in biggest fantasy, think of Batman's rogues gallery and the kind of stories that could be told there. Like you think back to our childhood with Batman, and Batman would constantly face down supernatural, like science experiment type villains.
Yeah, you got Poison Ivy, you got Clayface, you got Mr. Freeze, you got
that's exactly it.
the ventriloquist.
Think of the body horror that can be
Scarface.
Think of the body horror that can be. Think of the body horror that can be done. God damn it! Sorry. I fucking told them, and then I totally forgot to silence my fucking phone. Think of the kind of body horror that could be done if they were to really take the Clayface story and make him a primary villain. It's like,
I'll be down.
It'd be it.
I'll be down with Clay. Like, see, because the whole Joker thing at the end, I really hope they don't do the Joker, or if they were to do a sequel,
if they surprises and then save him for a third movie. Don't make him the next immediate villain.
Yeah.
I would love a tragic character type story involving Mr. Freeze, who is a tragic character and sadly like was kind of ruined for cinema. Thank you. Sorry, I love you, but thank you, Schwarzenegger.
Come on, you don't do me like that. But yeah,
kill the dinosaurs.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed the movie. I just the one review I watched, it made a perfect point. If this movie came out before the Nolan trilogy, I would say this was the best Batman.
Don't turn this into a video where I tear apart the Nolan trilogy.
Hey man, that's your thing. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion about the Nolan trilogy. I like the first Batman Begins and the Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises is kind of eh. Come on now.
Just remember,
I know you mad.
Just remember, kids. If you cause the circumstances that lead to someone's death, that is called manslaughter. It still means you killed somebody. That was my PSA.
Shut up.
Batman Begins. But nonetheless, I would give this movie a 9. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie, but I will stand firm. I will die on the hill that this is the best live action Batman movie that we have gotten to date. Especially one tried to reboot the franchise. Yeah. Definitely.
I'm going to give it an 8. It's a good Batman film. I mean, if you've seen the Nolan and you like the Nolan versions, it's going to be a hard... Shut up, man. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow. And especially if you're not into the whole Batman being the detective and chugging it out for 3 hours of him trying to figure out what the hell the Riddler's trying to do, this might not be for you. And I know there's a lot of people, I've seen people on my friends list, oh, the Batman sucks. Oh, it's too long. Yeah, I understand. Okay. End of the day, 8 out of 10. Give me Catwoman in the sequel too. I don't care. Bring her back. Can't leave off that.
She dropped the hint that she's going to be going to Bloodhaven. I mean, whatever. Anyway, that's going to be it for us for tonight. So if you see the movie, what do you think about it? Drop a comment down below, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you know when we're busting out some more content. We're about to drop a podcast at some point. And we will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.
Deuces.